so we've started a series on this book, The Untethered Soul. And the reason that I chose to do this book is because I was at a conference and the corporate heads of 2 cruise lines said that they had read that book and it was meaningful to them. It is meaningful because it has a truth in it that is accessible to each and every person. You can give it to your agnostic friends and they will get it. It's not religious, it is spiritual. And so I know last week we had a great speaker, Reverend Roxanne. She was great. Yes. And so I listened to the CD so I'd know where we were. I mean, after all, you got to get caught up. The voice in your head is what she talked about last time. And who are you? Who am I? Who am I? Who are you? You know, it's easy to say, well, I'm Beth, and I'm the minister at Unity of Melbourne, and I'm a mom, and I'm a grandmom, and I'm a great-grandma. I can say all those things, but that's not who I truly am. And then there's that little voice that goes off in my head. And do you have that voice? Do you have the voice that when you're standing up here and people are looking at you, you're saying, is my hair sticking out? Is my is the tag out? You stopped hearing. But there are other times that voice goes on. I'll give you an example, a personal example. I signed up months ago for a spiritual retreat that started yesterday with an all-day retreat, and then it was going to meet every month. Now, I signed up. I wanted to do it. Now, how many of you have ever signed up to want to do something months before it took place? And so yesterday morning, well, actually, Friday night, I told Gerald, I really don't want to do this. And the voice inside my head says, but you have signed up. You have obligated yourself. They have made a space for you. It will be a disappointment if you don't go. You have to be there. People that you know are going to be there, Maggie and other people. And, you know, if you don't show up, and so here I am driving yesterday morning to the place, and I get there, and I walk in, and the place where we're going to meet is a very small room. Now, there's something that most of you don't know about me, and that is I am extremely claustrophobic. And this room had 20 chairs in it. And the chairs had less than a hand's width between them. They had no butt room. Yes, let's just say it. There was no room for any spillover. And immediately inside, my insides clenched. Now, of course, we're doing this Untethered Soul book. And immediately inside I said, I cannot do this. I not only don't want to do it, I can't do this. And so I say that to Maggie, and Maggie said, maybe you shouldn't be here. And I thought, you're really right. And so I go and I tell the leader that I am not staying, and I'm sorry. And it almost makes me cry because I realize I'm letting someone down, and I don't like to do that. And then all the way home, I thought, we're doing that Untethered Soul book, and it says that anything that comes up, you're supposed to just experience it and live through it. And I'm thinking, I missed my opportunity. I closed my heart. And the other voice in my head said, no, not so much. And so as I drove home, I got in touch with those voices. There was one saying how bad I was because I took care of what I needed in that moment. And there was that other voice that was saying, oh, but aren't you glad you did it? and then there was that voice that I believe is probably the voice of a parent that said, only bad people let other people down. Only bad people don't do what they say they're going to do. I didn't have a fly swatter, but the voice was there. And so when I got home, I sat in I have a recliner and that I sit in, and Jane, thank you. It is a recliner that you gave that we couldn't put in the storage, and it's in my living room, and it is now my place to sit. I'm sitting in my recliner, and everybody knows it's my recliner. Even the dog doesn't get in it. I'm sitting in my recliner thinking about this book. How those voices had taken over. How I got wrapped up in their argument. I didn't step back and just view. And that's what our author is inviting us to do, that when we have those voices going on, that we detach from the voices and step back and look and listen and be aware that we are not the voice. Take a deep breath. I am not the voices that go on in my head. Thank God. Thank God. Because they are surely nuts. Even the sanest of you, even the most engineer of you has those voices. And maybe you as an engineer have learned to step back from that voice earlier. I don't know. Maybe it's just us who are creatives, enthusiastic, whatever, get so involved in those voices. But if you do nothing else out of this book, if you learned no other lesson than that there is stuff going on in your head that is not you, if you learn that there's something going on in your head that you can detach from when you feel like you are being swamped. Now, there is going to be stuff that comes up in your life. Unity, no other religion can protect you from the stuff that comes up in life. All organized religion and all that spirituality can do is give you a tool so that you can handle with some grace those things that do come up. So our first lesson is those thoughts that we hear, those little voices that we hear are not that which is true of us. And I believe our song is about getting back, stepping back, and being the watcher. I remember when the first time I heard that concept of being the watcher, somebody said to me when I said I couldn't meditate, they said, Beth, pretend like you're at a movie and see that your life is up there on the screen and pretend you're watching the movie. And I said, okay. And then they said, after you do that, step back and watch yourself watching the movie. And that's what this is asking you to do. Step back and watch your mind, watch your thoughts. And when you get to that observer place, you'll be in that centered spot. You'll be in that place where you are experiencing what I call God, the one clear voice. The second section of our book is about energy, and everything is about energy. When you turn on the television, what do you hear? What are we concerned about? What are you concerned about? What is our country, what is our world concerned about? Terrorism, elections, resources. All of it is who's got which resources, who's got which energy, and who's going to use it, and how are they going to use it, and who's going to control it. And so we talk about energy out there quite a bit. It's only when you come here on Sunday morning that we talk about the energy that you got inside. And right now, you can feel the energy that you have inside. I heard Stoney this morning when I said something about you have an infinite supply of energy, and he said, "Oh, he doesn't have an infinite supply of physical energy. That's the energy that you get from sleep and eat and feeling good." But have you ever needed to do something when you felt bad and you had that energy rise up within you that you could overcome how your body physically felt? Yeah, we've all done that. There is this spiritual energy that we have, and that's what in Christianity calls spirit, and in yoga they call it chi, and in other traditions they have other names for that energy. And we're all familiar that we have energy centers in our body, right? That we have all of these chakras. We have a center up here, and we have a center here. And today we're going to talk about the center that's in here, our heart center, that energy center. Because our author says something that I believe is true, and that is that we have infinite energy that we can draw on all of the time. And I would love for you to play with that this week, about moving that energy, making it bigger, making it smaller. And he talks about our heart as the place where that energy tends to get blocked. Now it can get blocked in all of you energy workers and all of the massage therapists and even our musicians. They all know that our energy gets blocked in different places in our body. But let something emotional happen, and it tends to get blocked here in our heart space. The example in the book is that there was either the author or a young man has had a relationship with a young woman, and it's gone on, and they've been happy, and all of a sudden she breaks it off. And so the person, their heart hurts. Their heart hurts so much that they become depressed. They don't feel like getting up. They don't feel like talking to anybody. It's hard to go to work. After work, they go home and it's hard to clean house. Pretty soon there's pizza boxes and Chunky Monkey cartons and Oreo packages laying around. However that plays out in that person's life. Their hair's not washed. They're wearing the same clothes every other day. Have you known somebody that's done that, had that happen to them? Have you known that? Have you experienced it for yourself, where you just didn't want to wash your hair? And then the girlfriend calls and says, "Oh, I've missed you so much, and I cannot believe that I could have ever thought about breaking up with you. Can I come over and see you?" And he jumps up and cleans the house and takes a shower, gets clean clothes, and is bright and shining. The world is wonderful again. The energy that it took to do that was there all the time, but it was depressed. It was blocked. And there is a word, and I had to write it down because I knew I would not remember it. And it says it comes out of a yoga tradition. I don't know if this is true. Scarah. It's a blockage, an impression from the past. It's an unfinished energy pattern which runs your life. And the example in the book was seeing your girlfriend or your boyfriend driving down the street in a blue Mustang hugging another person. And you don't deal with that in that moment. You get caught up in the voices. You walk down the road of what those voices are saying. And 10 years later, the blue Mustang passes you by, and you still have those feelings come up. That's a Scarah. Scarah. I don't even have to say it. And we all have had that happen to us in the past. We don't recognize it sometimes. We don't recognize what we're reacting to. I know sometimes things will be going along perfectly well, and all of a sudden somebody will say something, and I'm ready to jump down their throat. Why is that? It's because somehow they have triggered something that reminded me of a time when I was hurt. And so I didn't deal with it the first time. And guess what? Chances are I'm not going to deal with that this time. I'm going to be over here working on what presents itself in that moment. Energy work is always inside work. And so the best thing we can do is when that energy comes up, is find a way to experience the energy. Our author promises that the discomfort will only be momentary, that it will only take a few moments. Feel the pain, feel the fear, feel the whatever that feeling is. Try to get in touch with it. When you see the blue Mustang and something comes up, reflect, what am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? Breathe through it. Now, have we talked about this before? Mm-hmm. We've called it shadow work. We've talked about healing the subconscious. Somebody said to me, "But Beth, it's just another book. Why?" And I said, because I read in a daily devotional by Mark Nepo that it takes 6,000 grains of pollen for a peony to bloom, to pollinate peonies. 6,000 grains of pollen. For some of us, it might take 6,000 books. It's why we come to church on Sunday. It's not because we're never saying anything much different. Here in Unity, we have 5 basic principles. And last week we talked about those thoughts, and we say that your thoughts control the experience that you have of life. And today we're talking about getting to that one clear voice, to get back to that place where you have clear energy. And of course we say you do that by going into the silence, by being still. One of our principles. Prayer and meditation. There's never anything new under the sun. What's new is that you have a choice. Every day you have a choice. You have a choice. What am I going to pay attention? Where am I going to focus that energy? Am I going to focus it on that which is life-giving and affirming, or am I going to get caught up in that traffic, that highway of stuff outside of myself? So once again, our invitation this week is to step back and to look at whatever's going out there and say it's all out there. To look at those thoughts that go on in our mind and say, that's all out there. I can get back to that which is truly me. I can get back to that one still, clear voice. And when I do that, and when I live from that place of one clear voice, I can walk through life experiencing each moment in the now moment. Experiencing each moment without the need to label, criticize, judge, categorize, colorize, name. I can just be. That's your invitation this week. To be. To just be. I hope you have a great week.